You know, if someone said, look, we're going to ban that sort of content from social media, I may well be on board with it. It's probably the only circumstance in which I can say I get on board with a social media ban. But of course, we've got one coming in here in Australia for people under the age of 16. This all kicks in December. And so the federal government, if you didn't already know, I mean, I don't know how you couldn't know that this thing is coming in. And it doesn't really matter anyway, because the social media companies are going to have to enforce it by law. So as I think it's the 10th of December, it comes in. You know, if you go to log into the Facebook, as some people will say, or the Twitter or whatever you use, they'll ask you, you know, are you over the age of 16? You'll have to verify it, right? So you'll know, everyone will know when it comes in that it exists. But never mind, the federal government obviously thinks the idea needs to be sold anyway, and they've punted up $14 million of your taxpayer dollars for this.
For the good of Noah. For the good of their well-being. From December 10, people under the age of 16 will no longer have access to social media accounts. It's part of a new law to help keep under 16 safer online.
Oh, look at that, seeing that the first shot they had the phones and they looked morose and they were lost in the online world. And then Big Daddy government came along and said, no more phone for you. And then they were happy again, walking down the street with their basketballs. They couldn't believe their luck. I mean, look, I don't know why they need to advertise it, unless, of course, they think they're going to have trouble selling it to some people, which they probably will. And, by the way, at the same time, the e-safety commissioner, the net nanny, the e-Karen, has been writing off to publishers of online games now, telling them that they might end up being included in this as well, because the legislation is so open-ended that you could, you know, a minister could, by a stroke of a pen at some point, say, well, online games are included as well. There is no end to this.
Yeah, it's a hard one, because I must say, initially, I was a big fan of the social media ban. You just look at the data and social media is objectively terrible for kids' mental health. Around 2012, when Facebook and smartphones started to become widespread, there was a massive and unprecedented spike in mental health issues among young people. Now, we cannot downplay that and we cannot not address that. So I thought, okay, if you have a social media ban, get kids off social media and then let the rest go. Don't regulate the rest of the online world. That's how you would have the best of both worlds. Kids don't get exposed to stuff, but you also don't risk censorship. The problem is that is not the approach Labor has taken. They've gone, let's ban kids and let's control everyone else as well. And this was Annika Wells, the communications minister, saying these laws are about keeping kids and everyone safe, apparently.
This is definitely not set and forget laws. Obviously, this is a fast evolving space, and we will keep attuned to minimising online harms, not just for young Australians, but for all Australians. And that's why I said the next big piece of work in the online safety space is working on digital duty of care, and consultation for that opens soon.
And this is why I just do not think I can support this anymore, because clearly it's now being used as a way to roll out ever-expanding online censorship laws through misinformation, through the Safety Commissioner, and we will very soon end up like the UK, where you have police knocking at your door for Facebook posts, and I do not want that for Australia.
Yeah, that is obviously bonkers and terrifying. I think the PM learnt pretty quickly when they tried to bring in the misinformation laws and immediately just opened this massive Pandora's box. And I can tell you he was very, very happy just to let that one die on the vine. And I don't think they'll be revisiting it in any remotely kind of serious way. The social media ban, I'm with you though, for kids, there are a whole, you know, free, independent adults should be able to do pretty much whatever they want as long as they're not hurting anybody. But for kids, they don't have that privilege, they don't have that right. And again, we've seen, I mean, the number of times I've written editorials for the paper about another young girl or boy who has killed themselves because they were bullied to death online, and there was nothing anyone could do about it because no one could see it but them. And it was taking place behind closed doors in their bedroom. You know, at least in the schoolyard, there's a chance that, you know, a teacher might see it and know what's going on. So I'm all for this. I think it is fantastic. I think the talk about extending the ban to video games, I do not think that's... If you want to see people rise up and go crazy, that's what we're going to do. Because talking to the other kids is how everyone plays video games these days. You get into the chat room and you put your headphones on. Obviously, I have no idea how this works. You play your Fortnites or your Roadblocks or your 99 Nights in the Forest or whatever is one now. And there's...
Haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, and there's Battle Royale.
Clash Royale.
Clash Royale, thank you very much.
I'm
glad someone's up with it.
And you see, and the kids, and you know, they can do it in front of you. They're having fun.
They should do the casino one instead. That'd be better.
That's right. And they're talking while you do it, so you can hear what's happening.
You're right, and it's become a form of socialisation for people. And also, if you start banning video games, I mean, what else are you going to ban? Reddit, I mean, so many websites open kids up to danger. That's just the reality of living in the world.
And it's interesting as well, because Pat McGorry, a former Australian of the Year psychiatrist, obviously raised a really interesting point recently, which is that, and it's sort of in line with what my theory has always been about social media, that the people who carry on social media have always existed. It's just that previously there have been safeguards that stop them from being able to say and do what they do online. You know, if you write a letter to the editor, it wouldn't get published. Now you can put it on social media. But he said during the consultation for this, they didn't come and ask people like him what they thought. And he's really worried that we've pinned everything on social media and social media, getting rid of it, is going to be the saviour for kids. And he's worried it ain't going to be like that at all. And when we get to the other side of this and we've done the social media ban and nothing changes, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, huge question.